Hello everybody, I am Ace Creeper and welcome back to a very quick first news video, Doctor Who news video of the year 2021, and what a banger to start with. We've got a very interesting one to talk about today. This is about Jodie Whittaker potentially leaving the role of the 13th Doctor at the end of Series 13. So let's talk about that. The article comes from the Mirror and is written by Nicola Methven, a name you may recognise from some of my previous videos, but we'll talk about that in just a bit. Now I know you're all thinking, why am I talking about this? There are about 100 videos a year from some particular channels that claim that Jodie Whittaker's leaving all the time and it never ends up being true. Well, the reason I'm talking about this is because it doesn't come from one of those channels or a dodgy sort of newspaper website. This is the Mirror, who have a very good track record. Not just that, but Nicola Methven, who wrote this article, is notorious for writing some very accurate Doctor Who articles about what's coming up in the next series, and she's been doing that very, very well for the last 3 or 4 years at this point, so I thought it'd be interesting to maybe talk about that as a potential option. We're going to read out the article, and then I'm going to show you basically why I think it might happen, why I think it might not happen, and then just sort of leave it up to you guys to decide what you think. I'm not going to say it's confirmed, because it's not confirmed until the BBC or Jodie say anything in particular, but this is something to think about, because it's the most likely chance of it happening yet, I guess. The Mirror and Nicola Methven definitely have more legitimacy than some random YouTube channels and some random online news articles. Jodie Whittaker is quitting at the end of the next Doctor Who series, where she will regenerate into the 14th Time Lord. The 38-year-old has told bosses she intends to stick to the traditional rule of leaving after 3 stints in the TARDIS, like the majority of her predecessors. One insider said, "It's all very hush-hush, but it is known on set that Jodie is leaving, and they are gearing up for a regeneration. Her departure is top secret, but at some point over the coming months, the arrival of the 14th Doctor will need to be filmed. It's very exciting." Insiders claim Whittaker is keen to take on other roles, and the source also said she will follow co-stars Bradley Walsh and Tosin Cole out of the door later this year, but showrunner Chris Chibnall is to remain. So very interesting, and obviously again it's one of those articles, it doesn't have any legitimacy to it. Why am I talking about it on the channel? I'm going to basically tell you about Nicola Methven and her previous history with Doctor Who articles. She has written a lot of articles about upcoming Doctor Who news that have a very reliable track record. A few examples that I would notably give off the top of my head were Bradley Walsh being cast as the 13th Doctor's companion. That ended up being true, the Mirror reported it. Nicola Methven, again, that ended up being true. A Dalek being in the 2019 New Year's Day special Resolution, that ended up being true. No Christmas or New Year's Day special for 2019/2020, but instead the Series 12 will actually begin on New Year's Day. That ended up being true. Series 12 would have an episode about plastic waste in the ocean. Praxeus, that was true. Mary Shelley's Cybermen episode in Series 12, again, turned out to be true. Series 13 will have less episodes than Series 12 and 11 because of coronavirus, again, turned out to be true. Bradley Walsh and Tosin Cole to leave Doctor Who in the upcoming New Year's Day special, again, turned out to be true. And many, many more of those articles. Now, not everyone is expected to be correct, and obviously they're going to be correct until one slips up and isn't correct. So this could very well be the one that isn't correct, so take it with a pinch of salt. Of course, Jodie Whittaker was recently spoken to, and she said that she has no interest in leaving the role of the Doctor quite yet. She's very happy with it, and looking towards the end of her time in Doctor Who feels quite scary and intimidating, and she doesn't want to do that yet. So there's 2 ways to interpret that. Either the Mirror is totally wrong and their sources are absolutely talking a load of real rubbish, and Jodie Whittaker is telling the absolute 100% truth. Or, the other way around, the Mirror have reported this happening, and behind the scenes maybe that is the plan to go ahead, and Chris Chibnall of all people I would say would be the first person to do, or at least attempt, a secret regeneration. Every regeneration we've had in the show, we've known who the next Doctor is going to be, more or less, maybe not Troughton or whatever, but we've kind of known who the next Doctor is going to be more or less months in advance, especially in New Who. I think given all the twists and surprises and that we got in Series 12, I wouldn't run it past Chris Chibnall to actually do this whole secret regeneration type thing, where we don't know who the 14th Doctor is until 13 actually regenerates in the episode. Imagine what that would do for viewing figures and popularity of the show, bringing back a really big cliffhanger like that, showing the new Doctor for the very first time in the actual show in the last episode of Series 13. Now, Let's say that is to happen. Obviously, Jodie's job then would be to be on damage control and go, oh no, I'm absolutely staying, there's nothing wrong, and all that sort of thing. Don't think that I'm leaving, because the show almost wants to keep it sort of, you know, as a surprise. So there's two ways to look at it, and it also is entirely up to you how you look at it. I will never say this is confirmed. Not until the BBC or Jodie or anyone up high in the BBC actually confirm it themselves. The Mirror is not always an accurate source, and you have to take it with a pinch of salt. Anyone telling you this is confirmed news is lying to you. However, I am definitely interested to see where this goes, and given, let's say, hypothetically, that this is true, and Jodie Whittaker does regenerate at the end of Series 13 later this year, that means Series 14 starting in 2022 or even 2023, the 60th anniversary year, will have a TARDIS team of potentially the 14th Doctor, Yasmin Khan, and Dan as played by John Bishop. Now, it's unclear how long Mandip Gill and John Bishop intend to stay on the show as well. Maybe they'll both leave at the end when 13 regenerates, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I think at least Yasmin will probably stay on. I feel like her connection with the current version of the Doctor would make a very interesting story and series arc to generally have that whole changing face type thing. Remember in Series 8 where Clara didn't really know who the Doctor was anymore and really wasn't sure, but everyone was like, well, that doesn't really make sense because you've already met you've met two previous incarnations of the Doctor, as well as seen them all in his sort of time stream, so why would you be affected? You know it's the same person. Whereas Yaz actually hasn't seen any other faces of the Doctor. Yeah, she saw Ruth technically, but not as the Doctor, just as Ruth. So having her, who as a character is very obsessed with spending time with the Doctor and still sticking with the Doctor with absolutely no question about it, it would be a very interesting concept to see her deal with a brand new face for the Doctor, especially that of a brand new personality as well. So I reckon, since there's no mention of Mandip Gill in this article leaving, I reckon she might stay on. Who knows about John Bishop, because we haven't even seen his character yet, or what, you know, where he comes from, what his goals are, etc. But I also think it's interesting that Chris Chibnall's to remain. Doesn't surprise me. Showrunners don't usually jump off the bandwagon this quickly, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe he'll be leaving pretty soon. We don't know in the next few years. I wouldn't have thought so, though. I think Chibnall will probably stay like Moffat and maybe do 2 Doctor runs at least before leaving. So maybe this is the end of 13, and if it is, I'll be disappointed. She got less episodes than Tennant, Smith and Capaldi, which is really disappointing if this is her end in Series 13, because 2 11-episode series and 1 8-episode series only brings her up to 30 episodes in total, whereas David Tennant and Matt Smith had, you know, 3 13-episode series, which, not even including the specials, is already more than Jodie, making Jodie just above Christopher Eccleston, really, in regards to how many episodes she did. If Chris Eccleston did 2 more episodes, he would have done half the amount that Jodie would have done in her tenure. Think about that. That's quite odd. And, you know, love or hate Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, it is somewhat disappointing to see her stick to the whole 3 series arc thing, where it's, you know, every Doctor's in for 3 series, because it doesn't really surprise anyone at this point. It'd be nice to have some sort of difference and change in the Doctor, maybe a 1 series Doctor again, or a 4 or 5 series Doctor down the line. But yeah, I'm a bit disappointed if this does turn out to be true, but again, take everything with a pinch of salt. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, comment below again for any suggestions and thoughts about this particular rumour. Subscribe with notifications on if you haven't already, and yeah, I'll see you all next time. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.